Hello and welcome back to the channel once again. Hope you are fine wherever you are watching from, and thank you for watching this video until this point. So Donald Trump was elected for the second time. Does that mean that this person changed his behaviors, or does it mean that this was the best option America had? And was the phrase "Make America Great Again" mean making America great, or did it have another meaning? So good people, let's watch this compilation until the end and I'll be back. Remember, all credit goes to the original creators of these videos.
We must take on Trump, who is the most dangerous president in the history of the United States. He is working for his fellow oligarchs. He does not believe in the Constitution or the rule of law. He lies all the time. He has gotten us into a horrible war in Iran and on and on. But we also have to understand how Trump gets elected.
First, it goes without saying that we must hold Donald Trump, his administration, and the entire Republican Party, who control the White House, control the Senate, control the U.S. House. We are going to hold them accountable for their disastrous policies. These policies have devastated working families in Texas, in Vermont, and all over the country. We are going to hold them to account. This administration, among many other actions, decided, if you can believe it, that it was appropriate to provide $1 trillion in tax breaks to the top 1%. And then to use that money to throw 15 million Americans off the health care they desperately need. And let me tell you something that has not been talked about much. When you throw 15 million people off health care, when people can't get to a doctor when they should, people by the thousands are going to die from that horrendous decision. And that is why, together, we're going to roll it back. But it's not just health care. Trump administration made the largest cuts to education in American history. As a result, 7 million Americans will be forced to pay $4,000 a year more on average on their student loan payments. And 1 in 4 student loan borrowers are expected to go into default by the end of the summer. We want our kids to have a great education, not to be forced to default on their loans. At a time when millions of kids are going hungry in America, Trump made the largest cuts to nutrition assistance in American history, literally taking food out of the mouths of hungry kids. You don't take food out of the mouths of hungry children and give tax breaks to billionaires. That's not what this country is about. Trump ripped up the union contracts of 1 million federal workers. He denied overtime pay to over 4 million workers. Trump abolished humanitarian aid that will lead to the deaths of millions of the poorest children on this planet by 2030. And here in the U.S., Trump's domestic army, ICE, has acted brutally and illegally, tearing parents away from their kids and deporting millions of people who lived and worked in this country for decades. He has destroyed the lives of tens of thousands of people, and we're going to address that issue as well. And then after all of the cuts in health care, in education, in nutrition, he wants to spend another $500 billion on a bloated military budget. Those are not the priorities of the American people. Trump, during his campaign, promised no more endless wars. Remember that? And then started an unprovoked war against Iran in which thousands of innocent men, women, and children have been killed. Gas prices are now the highest in years, and taxpayers are going to have to spend hundreds of billions of dollars on this disastrous war. But it's not just Trump's terrible policies. The American people are tired of a president who is a pathological liar, who is an authoritarian personality who wants more and more power in his own hands, as he ignores the Constitution and the rule of law, who is a narcissist, who, if he had his way, would probably name every building in America after himself, who is a kleptocrat, corrupt kleptocrat, who accepts a $400 million luxury plane from Qatar and then makes deals with countries in the Middle East and around the world which benefit his family's wealth. My friends, it is important that we hold Trump and his administration accountable for the disastrous policies they have imposed on the American people. But I have to tell you, that is not enough. It is not enough to be anti-Trump and to simply campaign against Trump. The American people are hurting. They want to know what, in fact, is going on in this crazy and unprecedented moment in American history. They want to know what the Democratic Party stands for and what the Democratic Party is going to do to improve their lives when it gains power. And by the way, what I have seen is I have traveled this country and we have held dozens and dozens of rallies from one end of America to the other. And what I have seen in recent primary elections is that the American people do not want establishment status quo policies that tinker around the edges. The American people understand that this country is facing major crises, and they want bold proposals to improve their lives and the lives of their children. So let me do something this evening that is radical. You ready for a radical idea? All right. Are you really ready? I'm going to tell you the truth. I'm going to tell you some stuff that you don't see in the corporate media and you hear very rarely in the halls of Congress. And that is that while the vast majority of the American people are struggling to put food on the table, pay for health care, pay for housing, pay for child care and education, The wealthiest people in our country have never, ever had it so good. In fact, never before in American history have so few people held so much wealth and so much power. A quick history lesson. You all remember we studied in high school the Gilded Age. You remember that? It was the age of Rockefeller, J.P. Morgan, Jay Gould, and Carnegie, and these guys were very, very, very rich. It turns out that today, when you look at the people at the top of the economic ladder, the very few, the concentration of wealth in America today is 4 times greater than it was during the Gilded Age. 4 times greater. And that disparity is getting worse. After receiving the largest tax break in history from Trump, some 900 billionaires in our country became $2.2 trillion richer. 900 people since Trump is in office, $2.2 trillion richer. In other words, the gap between the very, very rich and everybody else is getting wider and wider. Never before in our history have we had as much income and wealth inequality as we have today. Today, the top 1% owns more wealth than the bottom 93%. Today, one man, Elon Musk, a trillionaire, Elon Musk owns 3 times more wealth than the bottom 50% of American households. Did you understand what I just said? One man owns 3 times more wealth than the bottom half of American society. CEOs of American corporations, big corporations now make 350 times what their average worker makes. But it is not just income and wealth inequality. Never before in American history have we had as much concentration of ownership in our economy as we have today. Handful of giant corporations control one sector after another sector, and their monopolistic practices drive up prices. But it's not just income and wealth inequality and concentration of ownership. Never before in American history have we seen so much billionaire and corporate ownership of our media. In the U.S. today, 6 large media conglomerates control about 90% of what the American people see, hear, and read. Trump's supporters have recently bought up CBS, and they will soon own CNN. Musk and his fellow billionaires own many of the major social media platforms. And as bad as all of that is, let me tell you what is even more dangerous. And that is today, the billionaires and their super PACs are undermining our democracy and increasingly control the political process in our country. Here's the truth. You want to run for office, you want to run for local office, you want to run for state office, you want to run for Congress. And you get involved in a campaign, you say, I'm going to stand up for the working class of this country. And you run a good campaign. You know what happens to you? The billionaires and their super PACs will spend tens of millions of dollars to defeat you. That is not democracy. And that is why together Not only are we going to end this disastrous Citizens United Supreme Court decision, but we're going to get super PACs out of the political process. Bottom line, we are now living in a moment in American history where a tiny number of billionaires are exerting unprecedented influence over our society. And let me tell you something, these are not nice guys. They are extremely greedy and ruthless and will do anything they can to accumulate even more wealth and power. You might think that if you had $10 billion, that might be enough. Not for these guys. They want more and more and more, and they will step on anyone, in order to achieve their goals. And while the very richest people in this country become richer, what is going on with the American working class? And I think all of you know the answer.
Hello and welcome back. Thank you for watching this video until this point. So Donald Trump, for the second time, has become the president of the USA. The first time that he was in office, he never delivered to the people of that nation, because everything was going in the wrong direction. That's why the elections were held. People came out in large numbers to vote him out of office. Trump never cared about the cries of the ordinary citizens. His decisions were made out of his pride and ego. He never knew that one day he might be out of office. He always believed his decision, not knowing the effects that they were causing to the citizens. Many voters realized that they had done a mistake, and that's why they came back and voted their decision and changed their decision and voted him out. These people wanted a leader who had that human heart, a leader who hears the voice of the public. Now it came the second time when Trump came back to the people and to ask them for a second time. Many of black people never trusted this man because what they saw in his first administration was not so convincing. They saw no need to bring this orange man back again because of the way the man made his decision. But on the other hand, we saw people from the white community come out in support of Trump. They did this not because the man had changed his behaviors, but it was because he was white. These people never voted because of the policies of this orange man. They never voted because they saw a different person in him. They did it just because he was white. They only did that out of racism. Yes, they never wanted a black person in that White House, so they came out to vote for the orange man out of emotions and not policies. Now we are here. Donald Trump is in office. All MAGA voters were overwhelmingly happy because of their own white person who was in the White House, but their excitement never lasted. So they celebrated knowing that people from black community will be deported, and that was out of the hate of this community. But after all this was done, they got themselves in wrong side. they were the first ones to start complaining about Trump's decision. Yes, we saw farmers come out and accuse Trump of deporting people who were offering cheap labor for them. We saw them say that blacks had to be forced to go and work for them in their farms. A thing that was not done, so they were only disappointed. When we see men with great minds like Senator Bernie Sanders come out and talk about the orange man, just know that it's the truth. His actions are wanting. When you look at what this senator is saying, what comes to your mind is that America is heading on the wrong direction. During the campaign period, we saw billionaires standing hand in hand with him. What people came to realize was that Trump had decided to work with these billionaires without them being taxed. The decision never went well with the citizens who are now crying about the state of the economy. Even the people from the white community who voted for him are now against him. But there's nothing that they can do to change this decision. The decision to go and start war with Iran is seen as a poor decision because America has lost a lot of $1 billion without any proper reason. Healthcare is in a poor state. Instead of dealing with the health first before the war, we saw Trump prefer going to war with Iran. Iran, who doesn't have any grudge with the US. We see the poorest economy since America started, but the man never seemed to care about anything of the sort. Now the prices of gas and oil are at its highest, but the man's administration doesn't care about that anymore. The man was taken to that office by majority of the white community, not because they saw his ability to make America great, but it was a white's affair. They believed in him. They trusted that everything on the side will be okay. But the way things are going, you can realize the tears in these people's eyes. So great people, so good people, I appreciate your time. If you like this video, share it and give it a thumbs up. Also go to the comment section and I'd like to hear your thoughts. See you on my next episode.